Right. Shalom.
Shalom.
This is the brother Ra'aya
Brother Kalaya
of GMS New Orleans coming at you with another lesson. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure to the end. Shalom.
Shalom.
And hey, the premise of this lesson is going to be, it's okay to hate these people out here. And, you know, me and this brother, you know, are having a conversation, you know, before we started the lesson. And I even remember about a week ago, you said something similar, you know, and over these last couple of weeks, especially, and, you know, last night, you know, was Eve of Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So I was driving back from, you know, the brother's house back to my place, about an hour drive, and people were just driving like maniacs out there. There was a horrible wreck, and people were still speeding around the wreck. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, man, you people just, you really deserve the perfect judgment that's coming your way. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with hating these people out here. They hate the Lord, so what? Hey, they deserve everything that's coming their way. And, you know, all throughout the scriptures, you know, it speaks of hating those that hate the Lord. Not just these heathens, which goes without saying, but even 2/3 of our people.
That's right.
And as we are in 2026 now, you know, things are going to continue to ramp up exponentially, and we're going to see more judgments out here. So, if I could just say real quick, so, you know, don't feel bad, you know, don't feel bad when you start seeing people you knew in the world, fringe, so-called fringe you knew in the world, family you knew in the world, get these horrific judgments because they did everything in their power, you know, to receive that judgment. But you got it.
Yeah, I just want to say, because, you know, Eve don't really make too many valid points, but I was on Instagram, like a little bit before you called me earlier, and Eve was like, man, you can't tell me that people were this weird before the C, you know, before the jab. And, you know, also, you know, we getting closer and closer to the end of this thing, but that's also a booster in itself, you know. These people are acting, you know, sporadic. We seen a lot of that in the initial stages, okay, of you know, the juice being distributed, but we're seeing it more and more now as it's taking more effect. You know, the lifespan of these people are coming to an end, and you're starting to see it, you know, get sporadic. But
I got a precept to back you up.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm happy you people took that juice and you're deteriorating out here. You know, even though we got to deal with your, you know, your fuck up and making that choice, hey, seeing you get the results of it is a beautiful thing. And we're going to continue, you know, to enjoy to see the collapse of this society and the collapse of you wicked, proud, haughty people in it as well. This is back you up. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, meaning, you know, being sexually, you know, devious out here, fierce, despisers of those that are good, which we clearly see with our people and these heathens, you know, coming against the men of the Lord, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High.
Yeah, and ultimately, your true self is being shown, man. All right, that covered the board of, you know, basically everything. All right, and it's showing, man. All right, if you know, in the freakism, that's at an all-time high. Adultery at an all-time high. Just wickedness in general. All right, it's not being hid in the dark anymore. All right, you people are just letting yourselves go. All right, there's no shame in your wickedness now. But
as I said, you know, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, you know, without natural affection, truce breakers, proud, boasters, blasphemers. That can all be, you know, encompassed in this whole social media generation. You know, backing up the brother, people's true intentions are being shown out to where everybody can see it. That you're just all a bunch of, you know, narcissists. You know, you're selfish. damn, you know, bordering on sociopathy. You're just a piece of shit. And, you know, you deserve to get flushed down the toilet like a piece of shit.
You want the Psalms?
Con.
Psalms 139, Slakia, in verse 19.
And this is King David speaking. A man after the Most High's heart.
Yep.
And, you know, you just had that David movie come out.
I didn't see that.
It's a kid's movie. You know, they got David looking like a damn a beach bum, Edomite, making it look like a family friendly movie. Which, when you read the account of David's life, there's nothing family friendly about it, and there's nothing family friendly about what's about to take place with you wicked people out here.
That's right. Verse 19, it says, "Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O power. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men."
Straight out the gate, surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O power. So you wicked people out here, which, you know, Esau is the wicked, but what? Are people following after their father, the devil? You're honorary wicked as well. So you're going to get slayed too.
Shit, they surpass the devil in their deeds, man.
Hey, they make the devil blush.
Verse 20, it says, "For they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain."
Ooh, take thy name in vain. You know, what's this recent situation? We don't have the Lord's name over at the IUIC, and saying, you know, saying Yahweh Shai is crap. Amongst these, you know, other, you know, camps out here and false teachers that are just taking the doctrine and doing whatever they want with it.
Dragging it through the mud, man.
As I said, for they speak against thee wickedly. And what? If you speak against the truth of what the scriptures actually say, you're speaking wickedly against it. And there's no, you know, gray area. We're coming into the times to where all gray areas are about to be taken out of place. You're either going to be hot or you're going to be cold. And whatever judgment comes on either side of that lot, hey, you're going to have to fulfill it.
That's the spirit. We spoke about that last night in the Eve of Destruction video. You know, going along with the title that Elder Apostle Tahar came out with this you know, this year. All right. Because a lot of those people are on the fence, all right? They're neither hot nor cold, man. They're lukewarm. They've been, you know, tiptoeing in silence through the truth, man, all this time. And now the Lord is finna make you, you know, choose. You have to choose, okay? But verse 21, it says, "Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee?" ? "And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee?"
Read verse 22, Baba Kashan.
"I hate them with a perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies."
Hey, that's straight to the point. Hey, it's okay to hate according to the scriptures, because I've always had this question in my mind. How do you know what you love if you don't know what you hate? The Lord is, you know, he likes a just balance. Hate and love, you know, are you know, two, you know, forces that have to be there. So the Bible isn't all love and forgive everybody and all that. The other side of that coin is what? Hate and destruction and judgment, which is what is coming into these times. You know, as it says in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, there's a time and a season for everything. And we can clearly see with the state of the affairs of life out here, this isn't a time of coming together, loving and you know, eating marshmallows. This is a time of desperation, you know, separation and destruction. As it said in that 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, "For in the last days perilous times shall come." And if you're in a perilous situation, you know, you're not in a loving spirit.
I got one real quick.
You got it.
It's the book of James chapter 4 and verse 4. It reads, "Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that friendship with the world is enmity with Yahweh? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh."
We said in that 1 John.
No, this James 4 and 4. You know, and ultimately, it's not saying that Jake can't have friends. Yeah, we all have friends, right, in the world. But choosing them over Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, okay? Putting them before the Lord, all right? Putting them before this truth, putting them before brothers, okay? The ministry, all right? That's how you show you hate the Lord, man. That you have friendship with the world, okay? Shit, after this, I'm going to see a friend of mine, a college friend of mine, you know? But that comes after the work, you know? That's not something, you know, Jake is like, I'm going to call a brother and tell him, hold on, we ain't going to do this lesson. I'm finna. Nah. You know, this first. All right, the truth first, man.
Con. You know, what you getting that one? You can get Jeremiah chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
You can read verse 16. And then jump to 19 and read 19 and 20. So Jeremiah 7, 16 verses 19 to 20.
It's Jeremiah 7 and verse 16. It reads, therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee.
So, you know, when you go into this account, you know, this is during the time of the Babylonians taking down the southern kingdom. And what was Jake doing? Rebelling, as Jake always does. And, you know, you had the prophet Jeremiah, you know, preaching the words of the Lord to him. But it got to the point, as we just read, the Lord said, don't even pray for this people. And Jeremiah even got to the point, just like, Lord, just cut them off.
Right.
Because they're just too goddamn wicked. So what? Jeremiah had that hatred in his heart towards them. So again, you know, don't let anybody try to gaslight you, you know, to you sincere Akim and Akwat out there. There's no problem in hating these people, you know, even 2/3 of our people, because what? They're a part of this world, and what? Especially if they come against, you know, the truth, that's it for them. But, you know, just to put that clarification out there, what you said earlier, you know, you don't just have to blindly hate everybody out here. You know, the brother said he's going to, you know, meet up with a friend he knew. You know, you got people you know in the world you care about. You know, they may make it, they may not make it. Hey, it is what it is. But when it comes to, you know, just the wickedness of these people out here, don't feel like you're going against the Lord just because you have that perfect hatred in your heart for him. You want to see him get judged. Because honestly, they're doing more harm being alive than being in the spirit world.
Yeah, they born in vain, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I wanted to say because their conscience is seared with an hot iron, man. And if you understand what that means that's like, you know, when you go to a steakhouse and they put the stamp on the meat, that's actually a hot iron, okay? And you can't remove that. So with it being seared with wickedness, as much preaching and you know, begging that you know do towards these people, it will never change. The outcome will never change. They're still gonna be wicked. You know, that's why the Lord give you discernment, right, and wisdom to you know, peep out the ones who you picking up the better of the worst, so to say. You know, when you're dealing with friends and family. But you want start at 19?
Yeah, you can read 19 and 20.
Got you. This Jeremiah 7 and 19. It says, do they provoke me to anger? Question mark. Saith the Lord, do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces?
And you know, the Lord's being rhetorical. Of course they're provoking him to anger. As with Jeremiah, they didn't want to take heed to the words of the prophets. As today, they don't want to take heed to the words of the prophets, and we're coming in the stead of Jeremiah. And it said it's to provoke their faces to confusion, going into what? You know, them following after everything else under the sun but the truth. You know, not taking heed to, you know, who they are, who their power is. And even then, if they, you know, some of them acknowledge that they are Israelites, what? They're messing with the true doctrine. Just being completely confused out here.
Verse 20, it says, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, mine anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man and upon beasts and upon trees of the field and upon the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn and shall not be quenched.
And hey, you know, we know back then, you know, King Nebuchadnezzar, the Neo-Babylonians came and razed Jerusalem. But what? Hey, the modern day Babylonians, Esau, Romans are about to come in again and lay siege to Jerusalem.
That's right.
And then what ultimately this place, it said what at the end of that verse, and it shall burn and shall not be quenched. America and these wicked people in it are ultimately going to be burned when those nuclear missiles hit this place. And it's as simple as that.
I got something for you.
This
is Jeremiah 15 and 1. It says, then said Moses, and then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be towards this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. All right, and if your mind is not towards something, all right, your attention is not on it, you really don't have a care in the world about it. Okay, and that's what the Lord is telling, all right, Moses and Sam, well, not Moses and Samuel, Jeremiah, all right, towards these 2/3 of the nation of Israel, man. His mind is not towards them. Therefore, our mind is not towards them, man. All right.
And he was saying with Moses and Samuel before me, he was pretty much saying, look, I've sent the prophets before them. Even with the prophets before them, my face can't be towards them, because what? They're not taking heed to them. They didn't take heed to those men, as they aren't taking heed to you, as the majority of our people aren't taking heed to us to this day.
And you know, when you read on down, it's just going into the judgment they're gonna receive, you know, from you know, the Lord not having his mind towards them, man. The Lord's mind is towards the elect, you know, and that's how we see it. So nevertheless, ultimately, it's fuck these people, man. That's just what it is, bro.
And unless you got one more.
No, I don't.
We can close it out in Proverbs chapter 1. We can read
I know where you're going.
We can start at 23 and read down to 29.
Got you.
Because, you know, the first couple of verses around verse 20 says, you know, wisdom crieth without, and the chief places of concourse. You know, how long will you simple ones remain simple? Pretty much the prophets being out preaching to our people, you know, whether it be physically on the highways and byways or on the internet highway with these video epistles. But what? Majority of our people aren't going to take heed to it. So this is what the Lord's response is going to be to it. You know, backing up to the brother, you know, in the premise of this lesson, it's okay to hate these people and really fuck these people at the end of the day. And the Lord's going to show you how nasty it's going to be when he brings that judgment on you, the type of mindset he's going to be in, and the mindset his men are going to be in.
This the book of Proverbs 1:23, it says, turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you.
Through his prophets.
Because I have called and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded.
That's 2 Esdras chapter 9. When time of liberty was yet open to them, they despised the word and cast it behind their back.
It says, verse 25, but ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would of none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh.
So the Lord's going to be laughing at you when these judgments fall upon you. And the brother didn't go down in that Jeremiah 15, but it said, those to the sword, to the captivity, you getting killed by these troops out here, getting killed by these heathens, getting killed by other Israelites in civil wars, race wars, martial law, getting sent into captivity, you know, getting tortured to death in a concentration camp, you know, famines, be a lot of starvations to death, and getting torn to pieces by wild animals out here.
Right.
Those judgments are coming, and the Lord said he's going to mock and laugh at you when these calamities come. And how's he ultimately going to do that? Through his men, who you can physically see out here.
Verse 27, when your fear cometh as a desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me.
Hey, though Moses and Samuel or, you know, before them, my heart cannot be towards this people. Or in that Jeremiah 7, pray not for this people, for I will not hear them.
Verse 29, it says, for they that hate, for that they hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would none of my counsel, they would despise all my reproof.
You can read 31.
It says, therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices.
Hey, that same energy you put out is that exact same energy you're gonna get back to you.
God.
And you know, you trying to, you know, what's that saying? You know, your hands are too short to box with the Lord.
God, that's heavy.
Hey, you're gonna find that out real quick. You thought everything was just a game out here, but everything should be telling you that, you know, playtime's over. And when it's really blood, guts, and ass out here, and you're gonna seek the Lord, but the only thing you're gonna find in that day is a laughter, a mocking in your face as you're at your lowest estate. And it's as simple as that.
God, the same thing that made you laugh gonna make you cry, man. You know, these men, women, and I'm talking about, you know, those that are among the know. All right, they understand, they know the truth. I wouldn't say understand, but they know of the truth. You know, they mock at our videos, our dress, our apparel, our apostles, our elders. All right, that same laughing, all right, will turn into weeping, man.
God. So with that, we hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. But before we get out of here, as always, we're going to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word and truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Ababa Ball,
Baba Ball,
Kwam Yasharala,
Kwam Yasharala,
Shalom.
Shalom.